we're going to get started. Here we are. Thank you. Yes, enjoy. It's good to know that, okay, we're munching chocolates here. And anything over 70% chocolate, dark chocolate, has the antioxidants in them. So we don't need to eat much of it because it's very, very, very potent. This is the 77, I think. Sometimes some are like in a wax, but some are very delicious.
Well, I bet bags of chocolate chips. That seems to be the
Yeah.
cheapest form to get them.
It's true. It's true. Okay, so do we have any questions? We have stuck with a 21-day group wellness purification cleanse, which is huge. It's really a big thing. So thank you for you guys who've been showing up to meetings, of course. And then, of course, thank you to you guys who are listening afterwards. And but most likely everybody is already well off of their like purification powder smoothie cleanse because it was a big weekend, and I know it's hard to stick with it, but I thought it was a good time to do 4th to 24th. So with that said, this could have been something that could have been last week too. Like, how do we get off this purification cleanse? If we're here because we're doing whole foods for the 21 days and want to stick with it, then it's no biggie. We'll stick with whole foods. But sometimes after we're off of these cleanses, we want to treat ourselves a little bit. But we do our very best to stick with whole foods treats, right? Do you have any questions about that? I'm gonna get through like a little list of what standard process suggests how to like introduce foods again. Yeah. If we wanted to know, like, because sometimes we forget. It's like, oh boy, we're like, oh, what should I just go back to eating my normal food, or what am I doing? And now we have, spent so much time of taking away inflammatory foods, unless, of course, beans is an inflammatory food for whoever's listening and are here. But because that has been allowed to eat, and but this has pretty much been an elimination diet if we have followed the pantry list. But even if we haven't, if we are like, okay, I'm sticking to whole foods, that's an elimination diet too for most of us. We wouldn't do the dark chocolate that I brought today, but stuff like that. So what do we do? Like, okay, how do we get back to it? We start slowly. We do our very best to stick to whole foods, and we take it, and we take like, okay, so they standard process suggests, and most dietitians, I am not one, but most people who are on a cleanse and then start back on, like a general rule is to, start with one of your foods that you wanted to introduce 1 to 3 days and see how it goes. Is it another bean? Is it a grain? Is it a dairy? Something, and see how we react. If it's bloating or this or that, maybe we need less amount of it. Maybe we need to not eat it. Maybe our belly is just, our digestive system is just so purified that it, it's like, woo, making all kinds of sounds and noises when these old habitual food choices come back in again. Because sometimes our brain wants to go back because it's comfortable and it feels good and we feel at home. And maybe some of them might be just perfect to eat again. Okay, add one food group at a time, 1 to 3 days. The notes will be below this video too, in case you want to go back and revisit. And just notice, how does it work, okay? And continuing to prioritize our whole foods. In a perfect world, we would just eat whole foods. I'm just stressing that because I need to hear it, and I think lots of people need to hear it, right? And then when we start to introduce our proteins again, we have already introduced maybe some white fish, maybe some eggs, maybe some organic chicken. We'll do those easier digesting meat. When you add dark meat, the beef, if you do, or like the salmon or tuna or heavier meats, it's going to stay longer in our digestive system. Some foods that we introduce is going to act like a cork plug. It's like, oops, whoop, and then there's bloating or inflammation because it takes a long time how to digest it. So, and also one thing, these, for us who's been on the smoothies, okay, we do the smoothies first, and then we do the whole foods after, usually because it's easier for the digestive system. The same thing when we go back to eating normal again. No, there's no such thing as normal, but however we're eating. That, okay, the lighter foods in the beginning of the meal and the heavier foods at the end of the meal. Doesn't always happen, but if we can remember it, then, we might notice a difference in how we digest. Because if we put salad or fruit or berries after the protein and carb meal and healthy fats, then the salads, the fruit, and the berries, they go quicker because they're more sugar, right? So they go quicker through the digestive system, and then we have the protein and the carbs and the fats who move much slower, like the root carbs. The protein in general, I would have to say, I'll roll it back to protein, and the fats, they move so much slower because they take longer to digest. So then if we put the salads on top of that or the fruit, then it could become too much of there's a slow digestion for the heavy meal, and then here comes the fruit. Woo, let's push through. And it's like, whoa, we're not ready yet. So just think if that's something good to think about.
So
Yes.
Are you saying the salad after the protein?
I am, believe it or not, but also
I've done that because there's some book out there that says, meat leaves your digestive system too acidic. And then if you eat the salad last.
No, actually, I did say the opposite. I'm so sorry. I said the opposite.
Okay.
I meant the opposite. First to eat salad and fruit and berries if we first, because it goes quicker.
And
it can
that too.
And then of course, yeah. So then I know it's like what to do. And then, but you are also right. So I'm going to say this word again, bio-individuality. We have to figure out what works for us.
Yeah.
Maybe a dark leafy green salad or any salad will work after the meal because maybe it helps us to push things through.
And it leaves you more alkaline.
Yes. So maybe that too. I'm giving two options.
But that book could be outdated.
Well, it might not, because we are all different. Maybe a heavy meal sits too long and maybe we need a lot of push. But don't be surprised if we have a regular meal, with macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbohydrates. Don't be surprised. I mean, in a perfect world, maybe we'll eat it together and then they all harmonizing together and digest in a perfect rate, right?
And then, the book said that's how they do it in Europe.
That's how they do it in Europe. Okay, yeah.
Last.
The salad is last. Yeah, isn't it interesting? It helps to bring in, so also if we eat the leafy greens after the meal, it's not as how should I say, it's not as cleaning and purifying, right? If we haven't had something and then here we eat our green salad and we're like, whoa, that was a lot of antioxidants right off the bat. And then we can, it's a purification and wellness system on its own. And that could make us feel like a little, that was too much release of purification items from the leafy green salad. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But with that said, we're new, fresh, we're starting to eat again. If we do put fruit salad after the meal, that can act like a too much. There's a slow digestion going on, and then here comes a push, and then we can get bloated. Just pay attention and see how that works. Eat it all together, and it's going to be different because then they are in it together. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay, I hope that makes sense. Just want to make sure it's a nice, easy digestion, right?
Yeah, because I feel like I was doing the salad after, and then I was feeling bloated, and I'm like, what is this?
Okay, that could be some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So then we can go back to the macronutrient plate. Protein, healthy fats, and carbs. And the salad is in there. It's like we have it together on the plate. I mean, because we do not live in the Mediterranean. I don't think none of us are Italians or Spaniards in this cleanse. So we might have different digestive systems as well, right? Yeah, it doesn't always. Pardon?
Like half Italian.
Half Italian? You can do it, George. Yeah, you'll mix it up. See how it works. Let us know. Just want to make sure go easy on the mixing when you get off the cleanse, or in general too, because some foods goes much slower, some foods goes much quicker through a digestive system, and that could be the cause of bloating or not bloating. If we get it, maybe we don't have it. Okay, maybe there's none of that. Okay, start with easy to digest proteins. That's where we were at. So if we end up doing the dark meats and then we put things on top of that, maybe we get bloated. Maybe not. Maybe we'll wait a little while. Who knows? Okay, sugar and processed foods. Oh, we've been so good. So let's keep that low. We'll keep that on the low thing. We don't want to, if we were in this 21-day wellness purification program to change our habits, then we'll stick with that. And we choose a fruit or a berry instead of processed sugars. We stay hydrated. We drink plenty. We try to continue to drink plenty of water. We know we have learned that warm herb teas help to digest food. Warm water, warm teas at any time during the day and sometimes right after a meal. That helps our spleen to process this with the food comes down in our stomach after it's all said and done. There it is. And sometimes foods can get stuck in the crevices or are hard to digest. Maybe we don't chew enough and there's big pieces. Who knows? But the spleen is the one that heats up the digestive process and needs help to do that sometimes. If there's a bunch of cold food coming in or processed food coming in, then hot tea can help the spleen to heat up the process of digesting foods. In Eastern medicine, you have hot tea, right, or with your meal usually. But we chug iced coffee. I don't, but maybe sometimes. But yeah, it's just good to know that. Oh, let's try some herbal teas, green teas, herbal teas. They will help our digestion. What are some really okay? Any herbal tea is fine, but and like a warm water. But if we wanted to have the herbal teas that really help the spleen and the stomach to digest food, ginger, licorice, turmeric. Sometimes they even have turmeric. There's lots of turmeric and ginger teas out there now to pick. Just nice and soothing. We don't have to add pepper and do all these things. We can just sip on it. And just the heat and the flavoring of the herbs will help. Spleen is like it's a big cooker, like the pot on the fire. It bubbles. But if it doesn't have any, if it just gets tossed in food that is hard to digest, it gets tired and it doesn't digest well. And then more bloating. So then we take a cup of warm tea and we're like, oh, now we're helping. Now we're helping the digestive system. Easy, right? How easy is that? Hydration, warm teas, okay? Continue some of your cleansing habits. Maybe you can, maybe you continue on with lemon water. Maybe you continue on with a smoothie. You don't have to push the cleansing powder in it, the wellness powder in it, because maybe you'll be like, okay, I don't think I can pull more toxins out at the moment. I need to fill up. But a smoothie is always good to fill in. The difference between the smoothies that we have done for the 21 days, I just want to make sure that this is out there, is that the powder that we've been putting in, the wellness powder from Standard Process, we've been using that, is that it is designed to cleanse the organs, especially the liver, right? Which is our big cleansing filter. So it's been designed to pull out toxins and help us to have easier digestion and more wellness. Now, other smoothies fill us up more. Perfect, right? Just so we know the difference, okay? Okay, what your portion size is. Again, we'll go back to Marilyn's. The palm of the hand is the protein amount per serving. We already talked about the macros. We don't have to go back there. But yeah, protein, healthy fats, and carbohydrates. Okay, and when you start to introduce foods, we wait a few days in between with the dairy and the different grains. So we don't do like all of the grains at once in one cookie or something like that, because then we're not quite sure which one was it that we got the arthritis pain back from, which one was it that we got the skin thing back from, which one was it that we I don't know, again, bloated, I guess it's a pretty safe thing to say if we add everything at once. So a little at a time, and then we reflect, and we might even write down a few things that we add in case we forget what we added that day. And then we can see, okay, what happened? What's going on? Okay. Okay. And also, it's good to know that the goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness and progress, small steps. Because this is a lot of information. If we have taken part of all of these videos, there's a lot of info to to digest, right? And there's a lot to keep track of. Okay. Any questions about that? About how to introduce foods again, or like we'll just eat, we'll eat and feel good, and yeah, but just the different fats that comes in, the different um
Dairy products.
the different dairy products, that's a big deal, the different sugars in different forms, and all this and that. So just pay attention to what comes in, and always remember a hot cup of tea can go a long way to help digestion. Isn't that interesting? And chamomile tea is, of course, very calming for the belly, unless we're allergic to any of that. So then Institute for Integrative Nutrition has some inspired self-care tips. There is actually, in the beginning of these classes, back a few years ago, I used to bring the whole sheet where we have the big pizza pie of all the different self-care things, but I think most of them are lined up here. Okay, so oh my gosh, can we say this one more time? And then I won't. But one self-care thing is eat more whole foods. I think we can say it 100 more times to each and every one of us who's here and who's listening, because that's something that, because there's so many options out there, and it's so much easier to get something that's already like ready to go made. Okay, practice primary food nourishment. Which is, okay, the primary food is not necessarily what we eat. The primary food is friends, family, groups of friends, how we live, relationships, how we think, what we feed our mind, all those things. That's the primary. If we are living a life where we don't like where we live, we don't like our friends, we don't like any groups that we hang out with, we don't like a family, we don't like a house, we are not happy with our kitchen, we have no motivation to do anything, then that has to be looked at, right? And sometimes it has to do with what goes in as food, and sometimes it has nothing to do with it, but right? So are we happy where we are? Okay, that is the primary food. And the second food is what comes on the plate for our existence. I'll put it that way. Okay. Ooh, that's a big one. Okay. I feel like everybody that's here is pretty happy where we live and where we are and with our friends and families, right? Yeah, pretty happy. Okay, so that's good. We have some primary food nourishment, but there might be some other things. Okay, relationships, career, spirituality, creativity, movement, and joy are also forms of nourishment. So we have to fill that plate also, primarily. Okay. And one of them might be to move our body daily, but as an uplifting thing, not as a punishment, right? As an uplifting, not the musts. I mean, sometimes it is a must, because if we don't move our body daily, then it's like then nothing moves after a week. So maybe it is a must, but it should be from feeling good about it, I think. Everybody knows that with me, I think. But do you have any? There's lots of ways to move our body: walking, biking, walking out to a bench, sitting with a tree, all of those things, listening to the birds, all of those things. Just getting sometimes out is one of the primary foods. It's easy for us to get out here, maybe not easy for everybody who's listening to it. So if you can, just step outside for a moment, right? That is primary food. Okay, another. Okay, so then we have three. We can eat more whole foods. We can practice primary food nourishment, which is not the food we eat, but what we do. And then we have another one, which is move our body daily. And the fourth one, so we have 10 different like self-care practices that we can incorporate. That is enough. Those are four. Those are big ones, but maybe some needs to hear some more, and we can pick one that we like, and maybe we'll do that. Okay, create a morning ritual. Journal, meditate, sit quietly with your tea, or who knows, maybe call your best friend. Maybe that's like two in one, like primary food and self-care and tea. That's like all of that. Improve your sleep. Okay, that's not easy, but we all know how we can improve our sleep. We eliminate the screens, we read a book, we turn the lights down, all those things. So our body gets ready to sleep. And yeah, creating a healthy and cozy bedroom environment so the body can relax and sleep in there. Sleeping is extremely important. Yes, because that's when we rejuvenate the cells. And what was it? Mainly our mitochondria, right? And everything else too, which is responsible for everything. Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, suggestion. Look at screens, which is kind of hard to avoid.
Yeah.
You can get blue blocker glasses. So
that's right.
That's what I do. They're like bright, they're red sort of.
Yeah.
I do
The
that.
blue blocker glasses. Yeah. Yeah. John is big into those. He has those too because he works a lot. But yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Blue blocker eyewear for screens. And then okay, so we improve our sleep. Maybe we pick that one, and maybe we need to first sort out our primary food source: relationship, family, creativity, career, how we live, before we can sleep, because maybe we think about that all the time when we go to bed and we're like, and then here we go, and then we don't sleep very good. So who knows? One at a time. Okay, hydrate well. We talked about that. You can also add electrolytes to your water if you need to. If you feel like you drink water and just like, woo, it's not being absorbed anywhere, then we can add electrolytes. They sell them in packages. They are designed, and there's organic ones and all these things. There you can buy it in store. You can buy ready-made. You can drink coconut water. It's an electrolyte, natural. You can just to stay hydrated. I'm talking just to stay hydrated, because if we're not hydrated, we don't feel that great. And okay, we can make our own electrolytes with a pure juice, a little bit of salt, sea salt, and a little bit of organic maple syrup. And there is our own electrolytes. But maybe we need to get some that has like all the different things in it. I don't even know the names, but there is names for these electrolytes, and they are absorbed so that our muscles can get fed too. Because if we feel like we drink water and just goes through, then add some of that to stay hydrated, because then everything works better. Muscles, cells, brain, joints, all of that. And then number 8 is set healthy boundaries. That's like on the primary plate a little bit, like relationship, careers, all of those things, family, friends, all of that, garden, you name it, all the things. Healthy boundaries. Sometimes it's okay to say no. Oh, and it's so hard. Okay, and then spend time in nature is number 9. Fresh air, sunshine, grounding, connection to the nature helps with mood and circadian rhythm and overall being. We all know that. Maybe somebody needed to hear that. Nature. Maybe even we go a little barefoot. We'll do the barefoot community walk every now and then in our lawn to open up those 7,000 nerve endings in each foot and absorb some good juju from earth. And then number 10, cultivate joy and gratitude. Laughter, music, creativity, connection, chanting, prayer, gratitude practices are deeply healing forms of self care according to wellness philosophies. And so rather than a strict diet, yeah, we've done that now. So now we took it to a next level. Okay, we know that. We know we feel good when we eat this and that and the other. And we know that we don't feel good if we eat the other. And sometimes we eat it anyway, and then we rein it back in. Rather than strict dieting, it is it is important to think about ourselves, our bio individuality, what works for us when it comes to primary plate and secondary plate, which is okay, friends, career, relationship, family, where we live, and then what we eat is the secondary. Progress, we pick one thing and we change that. And that is over perfection. We can't do everything at once. That doesn't work. Then everything just falls out the door or window. I'm not sure. Intuitive awareness, we listen to our mind and heart and intuitive center, what tells us what's good for us, because what's good for us might not be what somebody just told us. Like me, maybe you have something else that is good for you. And then we choose habits that we can sustain. Small things, very small things. Maybe adding a cup of tea a day, maybe a week, who knows? That's a good habit, just one, maybe hot water. And then, yeah, we listen to our body because that's our intuition that is telling us to listen to our body. Yeah.
Yeah, I make, well, I personally have a cup of coffee like mid-morning.
Yeah.
One works for me more than one's too much, but I also make a tea for the afternoon. Sometimes I'll get sleep in the afternoon. I make
Yeah.
work and I can't lay down.
No,
And I make
no.
tea with hibiscus leaves, hibiscus.
Hibiscus tea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hibiscus rose hips and
Great.
some white tea
Great.
and
There is so much out there.
yeah, and another thing, can't remember what it is, but then a little bit of honey.
Yeah. It's a good picker upper.
Yeah. Antioxidants.
Yeah, that's a good sustainable habit right there. Boom. Yeah, the white tea barely has any. So that's, yeah, just a little something to tea. See, that makes a difference for our digestion.
Something
Yeah.
that just gets me going without,
That's great.
it's not too much, doesn't give me a buzz or anything. It's just
No.
to help me finish the day.
Yeah. A cup of herb tea with some honey couldn't be better. Love it.
Local honey.
Local honey. Perfect. Yep. So
But not Johnny's.
not Johnny's honey. No.
His bees are over.
They are done. They worked so hard. Okay, so just a reminder is that self-care is not selfish. We fill our cup first before we fill others. Oh, yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go out in the world and fill our first plate of whatever is not on the food plate. And then when we have that organized, we pick one thing, then we pick one thing on our plate that we update to. Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah, thanks for all your